me, not you. These are the phrases that you might say to your friends and your family while on the carnivore diet. I'm telling you, this diet will change you. Hi, I'm Tony H. Anderson, or Tony Anderson, a carnivore enthusiast, a lifestyle advisor, and this is I Got Beef podcast. I'd like to welcome you here and say that good morning, hello, good evening, and good night, wherever you are. I just want to let you know that I'm just so happy to be here with you today and share with you something that's near and dear to my heart. And we're going to talk about today how the carnivore diet has changed me. Now, I'm not going to throw a whole bunch of statistics and evaluations of different doctors and information at you this podcast, but I'm just going to speak from the heart a little bit and share with you my story as to why I decided to start this podcast. Even if I got one listener listening to me, I hope I'm able to reach that particular person. We're just sitting down at the table and we're just talking. Now, I want to share with you that this diet has changed my life in more ways than one. Now, this is a diet that is not for the faint of hearts. I'm here to tell you that if you're going to start this diet, and let me just rephrase this and preface to say, I really don't like the word diet. I like to say that this is a lifestyle because for me, it's almost like a religion, not to be sacrilegious or anything like that. I just embrace it that way wholeheartedly because you have to think on it that this is life here. This is not something that you just do. This is not a fad. And like many people around me, they like to say, oh, you're just doing this fad. It's just a fad. Everybody thought that Atkins was a fad, but it's still around some 20 to 30 years later. Everybody thought keto was a fad, but it's still around. There's people who are able to do it successfully because they decided not to make it a diet, but they decided to make it a lifestyle. And so, having said that, you have to have a level of enthusiasm. You must go primal in a way, animal-like, to do away with the conventional standard American diet. You just can't dip your toe into this and just waste your time and say, I'm just going to do this for 1 month. I mean, if you do it for 1 month, you're going to see some progress. But the real battle here is to do it more than 1 month, maybe 90 days or so that you can really see the process change you and change the people around you. It's so fun to see how people change around you. And then just let me explain a little bit. Now, just think about why I'm saying that people around you is going to change and your life is going to change and everything is just going to change. It's going to morph. It's going to, like a butterfly. You're a caterpillar right now, maybe a big fat one, just like I was and just like, I currently am. But you're going to morph into this butterfly and see yourself fly and move about and go to flowers and eat the wonderful things that you're supposed to eat. But why does things change around you? Think about it. Think about what you're giving up here. You're giving up going to the state fairs and county fairs and going to those little trucks, those little food trucks, and getting those really sugary and fun funnel cakes and getting those corn dogs. Or like me, I loved going to the movies and getting that big bucket of popcorn and telling the guy or the girl across the counter, do not skimp on butter. Well, they said, you want butter, sir? I said, lots of it, as much as you can give me. And all you see is that yellow grease just piling onto that popcorn, and the popcorn is just drying up that stuff, and then you put a whole bunch of salt on it. And then I would go and get that delectable candy that I know I can go to the dollar store and buy for like $1, like those Sour Patches and things of that nature. However, I pay $7 for it at the movies. Why? Because it's the movies. And no longer can I do that. No longer. I went to the movies the other day to see Guardians of the Galaxy, by the way, and it was excellent. But I digress. I didn't have all those things sitting there with me. I might have had a Coke Zero, and that was the only thing. And you know what? I was totally fine. So right now, being on the carnivore diet, you no longer have that freedom just to go into the store and go into the movies and go to those little funnel cake trucks and poison your body. No more poisoning yourself because you are limited, my friends and family, of what you can put in your body. Yes, that's right. This is a elimination diet. Let me be clear. You're probably only eating 4 different things, which we will get into that a little bit later. But you are basically going to eliminate all the unhealthy synthetic crap that you put in your body that makes you that unhealthy piece of lard. Now, you say, Tony, that's bad that you called me a piece of lard. I'm sitting here listening to your podcast, trying to support you, and you're just going to be rude. I'm going to shut this down right now and never listen to you again. But let me tell you, my friends, the reason why I say this is because you are unhealthy. I was unhealthy. If you wasn't unhealthy, you probably wouldn't be tuning in to this podcast trying to get some motivation or hear what I got to say. And it was just that. It was just that changed my life and made me turn things around. Now, I just got to tell you that I'm renovating my body. And you're going to renovate your body too. And I hope that what I have to say today will allow you to have that energy, that instinct, and that motivation to go forward and do what you got to do to have success. Now, I'm going to tell you, I have been on the carnivore diet right now for about 1 month and 3 weeks. I've been eating meat, dairy, water, salt. That's it. That's it, Joe. I eat water, beef, and salt. And I never cheat. Never. Ever, ever, ever. That's Jordan Peterson to the infamous Joe Rogan. And he's on the lion diet, and that's a little bit tough. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But no longer, my friends and family, am I eating donuts, fruit, chips, bread, pizza, ice cream, lattes, milkshakes, ho-hos, Mexican candy. Those are the things of the past. And let me tell you why. I got desperate. I got tired of people looking at me funny. I got tired of doctors giving me more medicine to fix things that the medicine never fixed, but just cover up. And they did a poor job at covering up some of the symptoms that I was having. I got tired of clothes not fitting and feeling embarrassed to step out of my own home. I mean, I felt like Brandon Fraser's The Whale. You know, I'm telling the pizza man, just leave the pizza at the door and the money is in the mailbox or the milk chute or whatever you have. I did not want anybody to see me. I was embarrassed to go anywhere. And then I decided to do something about it. I decided to take control of my life and say, this 290-pound, 5'10" unhealthy man is going to do something about making sure that I can live and control what I can control so that I could be there for my family, so that I could move again and not feel ashamed, fat and shamed. Let me tell you a story of why this happened to me. There was a guy at work. I got fat shamed. There was a guy at work. And I hadn't seen him in probably about a month or so. And so when he saw me, he looked me up and down and he said, "Hey, dude, what's going on with you? What? Man, He looking at my belly and patting it like I was 5 months, 6 months pregnant. And he was basically saying, dude, you done got fat. You got to do something about this. What's going on with you? And I felt embarrassed. I felt ashamed that he would fat shame me. Now, granted, when he was gaining weight, I didn't say nothing to him, but it looked like he lost it quickly. I don't know what he's doing, but whatever. He looked at me and said, hey, man, you got to do something about your weight. You look horrible. So when I left that conversation, or he left me standing there with my mouth to the floor, my mouth was agape. I kind of laughed it off and joked about it, and I was hiding my embarrassment. But when I looked at the reflection of the glass in the door that I was getting ready to go through, I saw a fat and distorted image of myself. And right then I knew that I had to change. That was my pivot. That was my turning point. It wasn't a girl looking me up and down and say, you disgusting flat piece of blob. It wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was me. I needed to look better for myself. I needed to stop being unhealthy. So now I got on the web and I said, what can I do? Because before I tried vegan, I tried keto, I tried chicken and broccoli for weeks with no results. I still wanted to cheat. I still had cravings for chocolate and Sour Patches. Those were my go-to things, and potato chips and things that are unhealthy. Everything that I did, I would pound the broccoli in the salad, and I hate salad. And I would pound the chicken, and I still could not lose weight. I did all these workouts. I'm doing up downs and burpees, and I got videos to prove it. And I would lose just a little bit of weight. It would take me almost a month to lose just 5 pounds or less, and nothing was working. And so after I had that conversation with one of the coworkers, I sat down on the couch and I prayed and I said, what in the hell can I do? And then I saw Michaela Peterson on the Joe Rogan show. I saw her father, Jordan Peterson, on a Joe Rogan show. They spoke about their autoimmune and their depression and how just eating meat and water and salt really, quote unquote, healed all their oppressions. And I said, this is extreme. There's no way that this can happen. And then Joe Rogan got on the podcast and he did it for a month, and he said, everything, like his energy, and he lost his belly, and he just felt so good at his age, and he's 50 years old. And I'm like, maybe I need to give this thing a shot. And so I got on the internet. I started listening to Laura Spath and Lily Kane and Dr. Berry and Dr. Shafee, you name it. Anybody who was talking about the carnivore diet and who had did it for a long time, I was extremely, extremely into it. And then I became extreme. And then I said, I was going to start like slow, and I was going to slowly get into the keto. And from the keto, I was going to go to carnivore. But you know what? I said, screw it. I'm going to go cold turkey. No pun intended. I'm going to eat nothing but beef, butter, and bacon and see where it leads me. Of course, every now and again, I'll have some cheese, which is the treat for me. I'll have some heavy whipping cream. I still drink coffee, but with no sugar. But for the most part, it's meat, meat, meat. I love meat like never before. Never like vegetables. So, if you tell me that I can eat beef, butter, bacon, shrimp, fish, you name it, and eat until I'm comfortably stuffed without starving myself and without portioning, you got me. Okay? You got me. So, now I changed, and so people around me changed as well because, they saw my lifestyle. Hey, let's take a quick break, and I will share with you how things change. The first thing that changed, and I want to welcome you back to my podcast, I Got Beef. Tony Anderson here, a carnivore enthusiast, very new to this vein, to this structure of things, but I just want to tell you that this lifestyle, not diet, has changed my life. But the first thing I want to discuss with you is what I started noticing in the first week of carnivore is that my energy level was shooting through the roof, my friends. I'm talking about I felt so energetic that I was taking care of the honeydew list. I mean, building desk. I was hanging up things that needed to be hung up, things that were put on the back burner because I was just lazy and tired, and on my off days, sleeping on the couch in the middle of the day, not working out and things of that nature. I was really able to kind of get after it. And that was a blessing to me because now I was able to get a lot of things done, just a lot of things done because my energy never wavered. It didn't go up, it didn't go down, it stayed level. And I loved it. I never felt like this before. I mean, a lot of times I thought something was wrong with me, like I was hypoglycemic or I was becoming a diabetic or I had cancer. I didn't know what was going on in my body. And then I would get my blood work and everybody say, hey, you're perfectly normal, you're perfectly fine, but I wasn't. Being on a carnivore diet, I was able to feel energetic, and that was the first thing that I noticed. The second thing, I stopped snoring. My kids used to tell me that my snoring would wake them up, or when they were getting up in the morning and getting ready to go to school, that I snore so bad that they can hear me all the way in my room while they were in the kitchen, or that it shook the whole house. And then they would say that I would hold my breath for a very long time, and then after a period of time that I was getting ready to seemingly suffocate, I would blow out a huff and puff that would rival the wolf and the Three Little Pigs. And even though I've never got diagnosed with sleep apnea, I'm here to tell you that that was pretty much sleep apnea. And I'm telling you, within about 2 weeks altogether, I snored very minimal to no snoring. And I have an app that actually records if I'm snoring through the night. And that's probably why also that I have better energy, because when I wake up, I would just drag myself to the shower. And it was no way that I can just kind of stay awake. I just felt lethargic all day, probably because I wasn't sleeping well because of my sleep apnea. And so now I have just great energy all through the day. I don't have carbs that are making my insulin shoot up and what have you. So, I mean, I just feel so great. But we'll talk about that in another podcast. Number 3, I lost weight. That's right, my friends. I lost weight. I quickly lost weight. I started this journey at 291 pounds. And by the first week, I lost about 5 to 6 pounds. And by week 3, it was 8. And then at the end of the month, it was 12 pounds altogether. And I'm talking about with little to no activity. Little to no activity whatsoever. I mean, I had 3 sessions where I kind of worked out. And I have my own gym in the garage. But I was so busy cooking and doing everything else that there was no need for any gym or what have you. And I just been losing tons of weight. The fourth thing that I like to talk about is, get this, my libido. I had a hard time with Mr. Bojangles. Yes, I know, Mr. Bojangles. I know you hear that and you say, he names his junk. Yes, I name my junk. Most men do, so get over it. But I'm happy to say that, when I needed to respond, I respond. I was not that limp piece of spaghetti hanging off your fork. I was that piece of grade A USDA beef, baby. And so I'm going to tell you, instead of calling me Tony, you can start calling me T-Bone. No, I'm just kidding. But let's go to number 5 real quick because we're running out of time here. But number 5, my family and friends changed around me. They began really to take notice about what I was doing. They noticed that I had a lot of energy. I wasn't slothful and lazy, and I was just stinking up the whole house with the great smell of meat, bacon, and beef, and steak, and yum, yum, yum. I was just smelling up the house. And my family would come in and say, God, you eat bacon again? Yeah. And so at work, people saw me eating shrimp and steak, and, oh, that looks good. Where's the other stuff? You're just eating meat? Yeah. And then they finally asked me, what are you doing? And, I just couldn't keep it to myself anymore because I knew that people were going to just be credulous. And they were. And I heard all the credulous phrases and words and the hemming and hawing and the grave warnings about what the carnivore diet was going to do to me and how bad it was because I just need to have vegetables. I can eat a salad but turn around and eat a pizza and it's okay. I can eat candy, but as long as I eat, broccoli and potatoes and rice and salads and everything that's, vegetable, I'm okay. But if I eliminate everything out of my diet except for beef and water and salt and a little bit of bacon, a little bit of cheese, and that's all I'm getting, I'm the one that's being unhealthy. I'm the one that's going to have bad health, while everybody else is just pouring salad dressings and barbecue on everything that they think is healthy and calling it healthy when there's a lot of hidden sugars. They're still eating potato chips. They're still having that tire overlapping their waistline. We call that Dunlap disease, where your belly has Dunlapped over your belt. And all the while people were being credulous and skeptic, in which that's their right, I'm getting slimmer, healthier, more energetic, better sleep. I'm wearing shirts I never thought I could wear anymore. I'm more productive. So, in conclusion, I'm telling you, my friends, that if you go down this road to wanting to lose weight and to just overall get better in your health, to throw away your pills, if you will, and not need to have the blue pill to get you going at night, if you know what I mean, or the morning, or whatever you do it, you got to do this wholeheartedly. And it's not easy, because nothing that's worth it is ever easy. You got to believe me that you got to stick to this program. You got to believe in it. You have to do it wholeheartedly. And I, for one, am doing it. That's why I'm doing this podcast, because not only am I trying to motivate you, I'm motivating myself. This reminds me every day of what I need to do to stay on track. Hey, that's all for today. I am T-Bone. I'm Tony Anderson, and I appreciate all of you who listen to the I Got Beef podcast. And I will be back next week with another episode that you don't want to miss. Let's do this again. Toodaloo.